And now for the other sequel to An American Tail. The last one wasn't too bad, but it was no Western, so could this one be better? No, not really. With how Treasure of Manhattan Island fared, it's no wonder that Universal would make this the last time they do An American Tail. Guess they really wanted to focus on The Land Before Time, as well as 2 direct-to-video Balto sequels, and instead of TMS for animation, we have Tama Productions, which have done their fair share of work on major projects until 2011. With most of the same team involved, surely it could end the American Tail franchise on a decent note, or this last movie will pale in comparison to any of its predecessors. With that in mind, let us go over the mystery of the Night Monster. We open on a dark and spooky night in New York. Fievel just woke up from a strange dream, but realizes that his sister Tanya is missing. He goes toward what appears to be a hole with the green fart clouds from the second movie? Not again! Oh wait, they're not the same. Never mind. Yeah, this is actually one big nightmare. Fievel's family is gone, everything's breaking apart, and a demon cat sprung out of hell? Oh, it's even worse! It's Red from All Dogs Go to Heaven too! Sorta! I'll say this much, it's one hell of an opening! Oh, one seizure-inducing moment later, Fievel finally wakes up for real. Apparently, these nightmares have been going on for a while, and, you know, they would make more sense if they took place before the third movie, as if they're remnants of lingering trauma from the first movie.
Horrible stories of huge teeth and slashing claws.
Papa, enough already?
I'll say this much, not a bad way to open up the movie, so long as it has some purpose later. Also, Mama is now voiced by Jane Singer. Everyone else reprises their role from last time. Time has moved on since, with Tanya working for the Daily Nibbler, which we'll see is the mouse version of the New York World. It's reporting on a Manhattan monster who's tormenting mice, which seems to be responsible for what's been going on lately. Mama doesn't like this reporting because there doesn't seem to be a lot of proof and evidence behind the story, but Tanya tries to explain.
But Mama, Mr. Daly says that's what sells newspapers.
Ah, so it's like how major news outlets are nowadays. Print out fear-mongering articles in order to raise profits. But Papa does point to one Nibbler journalist who's doing some good called Nelly Brie, who wrote an article about the poor working conditions at a factory by going undercover.
She exposes the whole thing in the newspaper, and all the rats who own the place, they go to jail.
This is how you know this is detached from reality, when CEOs who mistreat their workers just get bonuses and a slap on the wrist nowadays. To help Fievel get over his nightmares, Mama tells Tanya to bring him to work. Turns out she only got her job through Fievel's friend Tony, who's also working for the Nibbler. As they head to work, a crowd of people are listening to this one politician who's trying to address the monster issues. He kinda looks like Honest John from the first movie, doesn't he?
That wall they built maybe stopped the cats, but it didn't stop that monster. I think we're better off before, huh?
Guess you shouldn't try falsifying votes with dead people, huh? Unlike in the last movie, there's now a security gate to another part of the city. I don't know if this was also a thing within New York City for humans, because there's already that sort of immigration checkpoint in Ellis Island. I guess given the size of human society, the mouse version could split into multiple countries? I don't know. It's just strange to see here. Anyway, at the checkpoint, one officer warns the kids about the monster while the other officer opens up the gate. Given the camera angle, it's clear that Officer 2 is a woman in disguise, but she'll introduce herself soon enough. So Tanya and Fievel arrive at the Daily Nibbler, which is underneath the New York World building. With how busy it is, Fievel almost gets crushed, but the lady officer is there to rescue him. Good save! Also, yes, roller skates were around at this point. They've existed since the 18th century. This is the famed and previously mentioned Nelly, voiced by Susan Boyd, and she was undercover at the gate looking for possible blackmail. She's also based on the real-life Nelly Bly, a famous journalist who worked for the New York World in the late 1800s. She's best known for going undercover as a patient in the women's lunatic asylum and writing about the brutal mistreatment of patients there. She also traveled around the world for another feature of the New York World. Anyhow, she and the kids now need to reach the Daily Nibbler's newsroom. And remember how I mentioned the pneumatic tube mail system in the last movie? Well, that's how they get to the workplace. Seems a bit much, but I appreciate the creativity of it. Anyway, leading the Nibbler is Reed Daly, voiced by Robert Hayes. He's not above a little embellishment, if that means selling more papers. Naturally, this causes him to butt heads with Nelly.
My headlines are the only reason anybody reads your stories. Well, my stories are the only reason anyone reads this paper.
Blast it all, Nelly! Ow, ow, ow!
Why do you like this guy, Tanya? And yeah, this movie is honing in on American newspapers, maybe news media these days, that chase views and eyeballs rather than, well, reporting the news. Oh, and Tony is here too, working as a newsboy, even though he wants to be a reporter. Say, whatever happened to your factory job from the last movie? Anyway, he says that the monster attacked in Chinatown.
I heard it was a regular massacre. Blood all over the place.
If that were true, this movie would be rated PG.
Arms and legs twisted right off. I suck clean out of their sockets.
Make that PG-13. Reed tells Nelly to look into the story with Fievel, because he showed some drawing skills earlier that could prove useful. And as they step outside, we see Tiger, who's also working as a newsboy with Tony. Two things. One, using a cat to deliver paper is kinda ingenious. And two, with how Fievel's nightmares depict the monster as a demonic cat, you'd think this would cause some issues with him and Tiger. Thankfully, this isn't the case. Nelly and Fievel leave for the train, and it's here where Fievel admits to feeling scared and afraid towards the monster. Again, this would probably be more fitting before Treasure of Manhattan, if Fievel is still reeling from the first film, but Nelly tries to help him overcome his fears with a song.
Simply open up your eyes, seek the truth, find the proof, and your fears will all go poof. Follow the tracks.
Of course! If something is true, it can't scare you. It might still hurt, though. Since she's a journalist, it might explain the approach she's taking with Fievel. The song's not bad, but once again I wish the animation quality was better. Anyway, our heroes arrive at the scene of the crime, which has a hole in the ground supposedly made by the monster. But there are no guts nor blood, so clearly Tony was exaggerating. One member from the attacked Chinese mice family recognizes Nelly and is willing to tell her what happened, which included her husband's disappearance.
Then room shake, floor split, awful sound, wreck million angry wasp. Aye!
Stereotypical Chinese voice? Well, this doesn't help Fievel at all, because he's still spooked by the kitty dragon description.
Don't let the fear win. Keep your eyes open to the truth.
Maybe some Persona 4 music will help. Well, Fievel's got a confidence boost, since now he's looking to find out what actually is going on. Going back home, he and Nelly notice a crowd gathering around a soothsayer dog named Madame Mousse, voiced by Candy Milo. She gets worked up when others comment on how small she is for a dog.
I am a miniature poodle. I think she looks like a rat. Oh, Pansy, I am not a rat. You got that?
I mean, in the first movie we had a cat the size of a rat. It could be worse. She could have been a chihuahua with a bad accent. She's an obvious fraud that's taking advantage of the mice's paranoia about the monster, so they're buying her useless herbs to ward off the monster. Time goes by, the monster's still loose, and Mousse is raking in the dough for, I don't know. As everyone tries calling for action from not Honest John, something really shocking happens. Holy hell! Guess he's finally answering for his dishonesty. Mama even loses the baby to down the stairs, though the baby doesn't seem to mind the ride. Fievel rescues her and... oh, it's just another nightmare.
What happened?
You fell asleep in your soup.
The most embarrassing way to die, drowning in your soup. Mama questions why he keeps following Nelly, and he admits to believing that being around her could help him be braver. It's obviously not working since he's just a coward, it seems, even though he's faced many dangers in the past and has largely shrugged them off after a while. Again, if this happened after the first movie, this would be a more fitting problem in reference to the traumas and experiences he had. So another monster attack happens at a bakery. The owner survived and his name is Haggis. Gee, I wonder why he's called that.
Came up through the floor like Nessie herself, breaking the surface of Loch Ness.
Oh, sorry. That Freakazoid clip's still on cooldown. You know, I think this movie has more issues than the last one. Anyway, Haggis tried fighting the monster, and the aftermath left behind a hairball. It's pretty likely that there is a cat villain, and the series is due for one after having rat villains in the third one. But in actuality, we have a villain team led by Madame Mousse. She and her cat gang are behind trafficking? Yep! Aside from showing negligence by a newspaper organization, we have mouse trafficking, and it's not handled well at all. Also, the cats in this one are rather pathetic, and seem out of place compared to the cats we've had up to this point. According to one of the cats, I don't even care to look up their names, Mousse tried to join a club of dogs based in Central Park, but when that group rejected her, she threw in her lot with the cats to sell off the mice to other cats. As for the monster, well, we just get a silhouette. Plus, it's song time again.
And nowhere in the world is there a dog more smart than me.
It's fine. She boasts about her greatness while vowing to get Nelly for attempting to expose her. She sees Tony moping about not being a reporter like he wanted, so she decides to take advantage of that.
Ain't you that psycho poodle?
Her outbursts remind me of Swan Princess Zelda in a way, but even more exaggerated, if you can believe that. She wants Tony to deliver Nelly a tip that will lead her to the Manhattan Monster. Nelly is suspicious when Tony doesn't tell her his source, but Reed tells her to go anyway. They head to this abandoned house, and that's when the monster strikes. Well, we know it's some kind of machine, and it's using some kind of flashing picture trick to make it look more animated. It chases them for a bit before getting stopped by a falling chandelier from Tony. The monster got away, but it left behind a red rhinestone. Nelly decides to bring it to her contact in Central Park, Lone Wolf, who is actually part of the Dog Council. He clearly knows what that stone is, but refrains from helping because the council has no interest in helping other species. So it's time for a song to persuade him.
If you don't help your friends when they need befriending, who will?
I mean, he barely knows anyone here except for Nelly, so he can't call most of you a friend. But Lone Wolf decides to pass on info through a cryptic message about a sign from above, which just means this lost dog poster of Mousse. Reed decides to spread the word of her being untrustworthy, and Tanya even finds out that she once lived at the home where the monster attacked Nelly and Fievel.
Nice work, sweetheart.
Sweetheart?
Move it, boys!
1. You're a child. Maybe a teen at best. 2. Why have you been sidelined for most of this movie? 3. Now Reed is actually doing some good? Here is also where Nelly admits to Fievel that she and Reed have a thing for each other. Their arguing does seem intense, but she promises that it just shows how they banter. Back in the sewers, we get a better look at the monster and, yep, it's mechanical and has light projectors. It's also busted now, so the bad guys can't use the monster again. Right? Well, not quite. But for now, the cat leader, Twitch, voiced by John Mariano, is trying to convince the other cats to ditch Mousse and just attack the mice themselves. But Mousse notes that because of Nelly's story, they won't have the element of surprise, so she hints at a new plan. Once the paper is ready for delivery tomorrow, Nelly and Fievel go home together. When he admits to still feeling scared, she tells him that fear isn't always a bad thing, because it could prevent you from doing something foolish. But But he doesn't have time to process this as his neighborhood got wrecked again. And now his family is missing. It's really jarring how he turns from this semi-fearless mouse to a complete coward for no reason. You'd think he'd be down to fight the monster or something, but no! Turns out the monster chasing him is actually Tiger. He and Tony wanted to warn him that Mousse used the monster to kidnap as many mice as possible. So now the mice really need the dogs for help, but Fievel wants Tiger to talk to them, even though he's a cat.
You're the only one who can get there fast enough. You'll be fine. After all, Lone Wolf knows who you are.
And you or Tony can't accompany him because... well, whatever. He goes off after some convincing while Fievel and Tony check Mousse's wagon. They smell a sewer line and put 2 and 2 together. Since her former owner was married to the public works chief, Mousse would know how to navigate the sewer system, and could get the monster to just about anywhere. Tiger makes it to the park and meets the dog council, led by the Great Dane, voiced by Jeff Bennett, and while they take offense to him trespassing, they do listen to him once they learn about Mousse. Meanwhile, Fievel and Tony find the cat hideout and the captured mice. Tony wants to rush in, but Fievel warns him to stay put while he goes off to Nelly for help. He heads to the newspaper office where Mousse and crew are threatening Reed, Nelly, and Tanya. We also get a villain motivation, and it's one of the pettiest ones I've ever known.
Because my whole life, I have been compared to you vermin. Hey, look at the rat on the leash.
I got your leash, pal. Come on, right here, you and me.
And that's their fault. Why? Sounds like you hate the humans for treating you this way, so why don't you get revenge on them instead? And the dogs rejected her because she was a lap dog. So she brought forth the mechanical monster that I don't know how she even made, but now Fievel finally sees the monster for what it is to overcome his fear. So what does he do?
I have thought of every...
Electrocution! Don't try this at home, kids! The cats go after Fievel, but he outwits them all. They try the machine again with circular buzzsaws, so now our heroes have to lose them somehow. Back underground, Tony decides to intervene when he sees the cats about to eat the Moskowitz. He pulls the emergency valve, which starts flooding the room. While he might have chased the cats away, I think he made things worse by drowning everyone else. Here's your headline: Idiot newsboy drowns whole neighborhood. Okay, I'm kidding. The mice escape by removing the pins to their cages. The stragglers are also saved. But it's still a very reckless plan, Tony. Nelly and Reed disabled the monster by shooting a canister at it, but Reed is hurt in the process. Nelly almost gets captured, but Fievel stops Twitch by biting his tail. This leads to a chase scene in a print room that ends with the cat landing on the giant press machine. Can't have the die painfully, cause it's a kid's movie. Then Tiger and the dogs show up to chase the other cats away and catch Mousse. Reed wakes up, admits to Nelly that he's in love with her, and Tanya takes this well. Well, time for a trip to Coney Island. The Daily Nibbler summarizes everything that happened. Fievel tells his papa that he rediscovered his courage thanks to Nelly, and we even get to see what happened to Mousse.
From now on, I'll never let her out of my sight again.
Not as funny as the booby lady from the second movie. But most importantly, Fievel can finally sleep without any more nightmares.
Sweet dreams, my little Fievel. Sweet dreams.
So yeah, this is the worst American Tail movie, but only because it doesn't fully explore some of the themes it sets up. The first topic is about the tendency of news media to sensationalize for profit, and the second is about human trafficking. The first one resolves itself out of nowhere when Reed decides to just do the right thing, while the trafficking part didn't go anywhere because the villain has a petty motivation. Mousse is definitely no warranty rat, but she's also nowhere near as memorable as Kadar Wall of Fievel Goes West. And while she can be kinda funny, her obsessive whining just got annoying after a while. Fievel's cowardice in this movie should have been the result of the trauma caused from his experiences in America, rather than this made-up monster he doesn't really face until much later. Tanya didn't get to do much, unlike even the third movie, while Tony is just Tony. The only part I found interesting was Tiger standing up to the dogs in order to get their help. More could have been done on why the dogs ignored all other species but themselves, and even that is barely discussed. There is an inkling of a good idea present, even if it's just about learning about the many forms of bravery. But between less than stellar writing and the not so good animation, this movie didn't work out. Maybe it's best to let this series come to an end. I honestly can't see this getting the Land Before Time treatment, which included so many sequels that slowly forgot the point of the first movie that spawned them. Unless you have a new story to tell, you don't need to make a sequel. The first movie was all we needed. The second one, maybe even the third, were at least decent follow-ups. But like everything else, these were unnecessary. I am the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.